Welcome everyone to this session of Boston Design Week, where we're going to be talking about how award-winning Art and Design Week can change the way we view cities. Now, before we get started, let's talk about a few housekeeping items. One, this will be a 45-minute session, and then we will go into a 15-minute Q&A. You can certainly throw in any questions into the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen at any time, and we will get to those as quickly as we can. And I'm Beth Davis. I will be your moderator, and I will get into my role on the campaign later, but I am with Finn Partners, and we're an integrated marketing communications agency, and I serve as the team lead for the public relations components in the campaign. Enough about me. Without further ado, let us get to the co-founders of Fort Lauderdale Art Design Week. I'm going to kick it over to Evan Snow, who will start us off.
Well, thank you very much, Beth, and thank you for all your efforts to help us get to this point. I am Evan Snow, and with my partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, we are the co-founders of Fort Lauderdale's first Art and Design Week, which came as a result of Art Fort Lauderdale, the art fair on the water, which we also produce as well. And the best way to simplify who we are, we're local arts advocates, community builders, creative problem solvers, creative marketers who became creative entrepreneurs that do a lot of things altruistically to benefit our community and specifically the arts.
Andrew, anything you want to add?
Well, no, I think Evan did a really good job at that, but I'm Andrew Martineau, the other co-founder of Fort Lauderdale Design Week. And as Evan mentioned, we've been very, very interested in kind of helping grow the arts and the cultural space here in Broward County, and utilizing the arts as a way to kind of create some other components for the city to be able to be this incredible, thriving artistic and cultural destination. So, we've been fortunate enough to be able to do this week, and the many different elements and initiatives that we've kind of come out of it have been really great for us to be able to kind of like grow this area.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so there's been a lot of recent news about your latest endeavor called Zero Empty Spaces. So maybe before we hop into that, which is a very timely topic, and it is, you really tapped into something. So I know that the audience will be very interested in hearing about that. But can you first delineate the difference between the art fair on the water, Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, and Zero Empty Spaces? So you kind of have three different components that are running in parallel together. So our audience probably isn't that local, so it might be helpful for them to understand.
Sure.
So being in Fort Lauderdale, we felt there was a void and a gap missing for a major platform in the form of a 4-day art fair, similar to what Art Basel has in Miami and a lot of the major art fairs that you would find around the world. Art Palm Beach, Art, Chicago. We never really had that in Fort Lauderdale. And as Andrew and myself were beginning our arts advocacy initiatives, we felt we wanted to create something to put Fort Lauderdale on the map as an international destination to view and interact with art. With every other art fair in the world being done in a tent, a convention center, or a hotel, we felt we had some very unique elements and characteristics in the city of Fort Lauderdale that we could highlight that would make the city very unique and would help make the experience very unique as well. So we came up with, as you can see a little bit behind me, the first 4-day art fair to take place inside of luxury waterfront homes along our famed Los Olas Intercoastal Waterways and make it only accessible via boat. It creates a unique opportunity to view and interact with art in a setting where art ultimately lives in a home, as you can kind of see on some of these visuals here. And it really has created a platform with this being an independent artist-driven art fair for artists of any level, of any locale, emerging, established, or otherwise, to be able to exhibit in our county and our city's signature annual art event. And that led to the creation of Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, which I'll have Andrew tell us a little bit about.
So yeah, so you know, after we did Art Fort Lauderdale for about 2 years, we really wanted to expand the opportunities with the fair and the things the fair was able to do to the rest of the community. So with that, we created Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, which is a full week of events where we essentially highlight and feature all the many great art activities and arts entities in our community. Art Fort Lauderdale is the center point of that week, and Art Fort Lauderdale kind of falls towards the end of the week. But we have, in establishing the week, been able to have the American Institute of Architects host an architectural fair for the last 3 years, really focusing on the architectural elements and the architectural community here locally, in addition to another event called the Sistrunk Fair, which is really focused on the African-American community in our area as well. And so all of these events essentially kind of added up and kind of created multiple things to do throughout the week, not just our events with the fair, but other events as well. The NSU Museum has had some incredible exhibits, and they've also added other components to their programming specifically for that week. So what's happened is, you know, with this platform that we've developed for the week, we've really been able to engage a much wider audience, trying to drive more and more people to the destination with many different things to do depending on your interests, and really being able to show all of the incredible things, as I mentioned, that Fort Lauderdale has to offer for an art lover or an art aficionado.
Great. Well, thank you. That was a really nice overview snapshot of what all of the different elements that you guys have. Lots of layers to it, but isn't that how the creative community works, right? So what I think is gaining such quick momentum now is your zero empty spaces. So I don't want to misspeak, but this is a way that it cultivates the local talent. And you did mention the local touch points, right? Like all of these, whether it be the week or the art fair, what's going on in Fort Lauderdale is specific to and distinct to the destination. And so I want to now talk about how the community is now becoming more reflective of that, and bringing more attention to that and exposure to that through the Zero Empty Spaces initiative.
Sure. So throughout the 4 years that we've been producing the art fair, which we mentioned is independent artist driven, so artists generally not represented by galleries, we would continually form relationships with these artists, and they would continually ask us, where are the studio spaces at, let alone affordable? And with Fort Lauderdale falling into Broward County, which is the neighboring county of Miami-Dade, where Wynwood is located, there are opportunities in Miami for studio space and for some studio space, but it's very limited. We didn't find many ample opportunities available in Broward County for our artists to have a affordable space to be able to create in to pursue their craft, their passion, their creative outlet, or their profession, or even just their hobby. So with us doing an art fair inside of luxury waterfront homes that are for sale, and partnering with realtors, partnering with companies like, Sotheby's and Douglas Elliman, and then becoming members of the Real Estate Association and the Real Estate Board, we would then get asked, hey, can you do art inside of our commercial space from commercial real estate developers, brokers, and property managers alike? And while Andrew and I were driving around one day, we were recanting how, unfortunately, Broward County is one of the least affordable counties for housing, but with all of the empty space that we would see on our ventures throughout Broward County, we said to ourselves, what if we could make Broward County the most affordable county for artists to be able to create in? And with Andrew's background being in shopping center retail development, having been an executive with the Westfield Corporation and other corporations as a partner, he had developed vacancy management strategies, which lent its way very nicely to the creation of Zero Empty Spaces, which Andrew can now tell you about.
Yeah, so Zero Empty Spaces is an affordable artist studio and vacancy management company. And essentially what we do is we take vacant real estate and we turn them into affordable artist studios. And we charge the artists $2 per square foot, inclusive of all the utilities. It's on a month-to-month basis, both with our lease with the landlord and our contracts with the artist as well. We provide the landlord with certificate of liability insurance, which you essentially assume all liabilities for the space. And as I mentioned also, we also pay all the utilities. What happens with landlords, and obviously with us making it on a month-to-month basis with a 30-day notice to vacate, the landlord has the opportunity, if somebody is interested in a space on a permanent leasing basis, they're able to essentially lease it, just giving us a 30-day notice to vacate. So it provides a lot of activity for the landlord's property instead of the space being dark and or the tenants that are next door or adjacent kind of being affected by these dark spaces. The spaces that we've had and we continue to get are mainly in street level retail or lifestyle centers. We're in conversations with a couple of enclosed malls and mixed use centers as well, but it's primarily right now street level retail and lifestyle centers. You know, we felt that this Zero Empty Spaces initiative was not only going to, you know, help make Fort Lauderdale or Broward County the most affordable place for artists to be able to work, but it was also a way for us to kind of help develop the local creative and art community by giving them places for them to grow and also connect with other artists that they may not have been able to connect with before. We constantly find artists that we've either known or we've seen their work, or artists that we've heard about in a lot of these little community areas, really kind of working out of studios at their home. So they've either taken over their their guest bedroom or their garage. And so there were so many artists, and somebody asked me the other day if, you know, do you look for artist communities to go into with your empty spaces? And I was saying that, like, we've just been discovering that there are artist communities really everywhere. It's just that there are really not a lot of platforms or areas for artists to be able to showcase. And, you know, if you're not an artist being collected by a gallery, which obviously offers a very great kind of opportunity for artists to showcase, being able to be in one of these artist studios is a great way to be able to, you know, build your portfolio of work, build new connections, connect with other artists, and obviously have another place for artists to be able to be discovered and gain incredible exposure by the street level retail that we're in and the storefronts that obviously have quite a bit of traffic that go in front of them. So
I'm going to tell everyone watching right now that Andrew and Evan are being very modest about how popular this is and such cascading success. In the past year is when the first Zero Empty Space opened, and that location has then resulted in, I think you're on your 11th location, and it is really a space that encompasses 60 artists who now have their own gallery space and studio space. It's really a shared space of studio, half gallery. So it gives them a place to create art, to collaborate with other people, and to sell their art. So you guys have really tapped into something. It's been incredible. I've kind of been at the sidelines watching it, and and I think that there's such a strong demand for this that a lot of, I don't think a lot of artists and designers knew that they weren't alone in needing something like this. And you guys saw the opportunity, and congratulations, because 11 spaces in 1 year, I'm sure exceeded even your own expectations.
So it's been really exciting for us, obviously, with Zest. I mean, we weren't really expecting it to grow as fast. Obviously, during COVID, we expected our interest from artists and property owners to have a considerable downturn. but it really accelerated with us getting outreach from all over the country. Somebody reached out from the High Street in London, parts of Canada. And so it's been a really, really interesting thing. Obviously, now during COVID, with the number of vacancies that are kind of popping up really across the country and across the world, you know, art can be that problem solver that we kind of feel it is. And, you know, when you start thinking about how an art fair and an art week could really transform a community and obviously birth ideas like Zero Empty Spaces that now could become even more important now that they're multiplying the number of vacancies really across the country. So you have local people in the community being able to come out and practice their craft, and also being able to create this more like familiar kind of continuity from one location to another, increasing the walkability in areas. And so artists can really be a really key piece of growing communities. And the Art Week has become a really great way to really kind of like ideate some of these ideas, bounce these ideas off of colleagues and peers and other artists, and really kind of generate some really interesting outcomes. And as I mentioned, you know, we didn't really plan to create Zero Empty Spaces. Zero Empty Spaces really came out of discussions with artists and also the vacancies that we saw in our community. So we're able to kind of like, you know, kill two birds with one stone, for lack of a better word, and kind of are really excited about growing this this particular initiative, not just here locally, but really across the country and other parts of the world if necessary.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, you know, going back to the topic of this session, this city is being viewed far differently from all across the world just because of Zero Empty Spaces. So again, congratulations. And I'm going to go ahead and in case there are any artists looking for studio space watching, do you have any openings? I'm sure a lot of people would mind some, you know, ocean view studio space.
There you go.
We do have
we actually have some ocean views.
We do.
So yeah, everyone at home, if you are watching, if you would like to relocate, there are vacancies with oceanfront studio space available in Fort Lauderdale, zeroemptyspaces.com.
We do have an application. It is on the website. It's not binding. We don't remove you if you apply for a location closer to your home, and you know we don't have that location available. We'll keep you on the waiting list. You can email us. You'll follow along social media for updates. And we'll notify artists as we make new spaces available, either in other cities, hopefully soon after COVID in other states. And we're really excited, just to finish the point that Andrew is making, to be able to use art to help aid in the recovery, especially the commercial real estate component, because as Andrew mentioned with the walkability, when you have 5 stores on a strip and the middle store is closed, doesn't help the other tenants, but when that middle store is open and activated and it gives things for people to do after they go to eat, after they go to an event, and then they can discover this art thing unlike anything they've ever seen before, because there's really never been high street retail art studios. It really provides a lot of support to other local independent businesses, and that is a way that art is aiding in the recovery and changing the way that we view cities through the Art Week and the arts.
Great. Well, so I think now it will be good for people if we rewind a little bit and share how, one, Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week is a very young art and design week. It only had 2 years under its belt before Zero Empty Spaces emerged. So I think, you know, coming out with something so powerful, seeing that come to fruition in such a young art and design week, I think is, one, again, incredible. So, you know, I think let's talk about how it prompted more of like that collaborative mindset and unifying the whole creative community in Fort Lauderdale to see this a successful art and design week launch and then also build again, perpetuating all these opportunities that have came out of it.
Sure. No, I mean, I'm a big believer in empowering creativity. I think there are a lot of really incredible things that come out of there. I think a lot of us, and me, myself included, we sometimes are a little afraid of some of the ideas that we may have that may be incredible or crazy or cool or things that we just really want to do, and we just kind of hold ourselves back in terms of kind of pushing it forward. And so I've been a big believer in being able to, or trying to empower people with the ideas they have and being able to kind of help push some of these ideas forward. So we become people that are advocates, we become catalysts for new ideas and new things. And we try to find ways to support other individuals in the area, other arts advocates and other community builders to be able to achieve their various goals in their various verticals that kind of all kind of coexist in the same space. We believe in rising tides raise all ships. And, if we could support some of the other ships in the things that we're doing with the arts, I think it would be really incredible for the entire community. And we've really seen a lot of that happen with a lot of the collaborations that we've had with artists and other people in the space. And, everybody could probably talk about some of those things, whether it's the art potluck that we do or any of those other kind of initiatives.
It's been really rewarding, to create the fair, to have the platform to highlight and showcase the artists was great within itself. But by extending the Art Week, as Andrew mentioned, it allowed for a lot of additional opportunities for additional touching points, collaborations, synergies to be discovered in the Art Week as well. There's also studio tours and open studio nights as part of the week where artists are able to have just an interested culture seeker discover their studio, meet the artist, get a tour, potentially gain a new collector, just as an additional benefit of being an artist in Fort Lauderdale during Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week. And we don't charge the artists, or we don't charge anybody to have their event as a sanctioned Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week event. We keep it very altruistic. And as Andrew mentioned, with creating platforms, we've wanted to create more opportunities for collaboration, discovery, idea sharing. So one of the things that have come out of this, which has been very well received pre-COVID and still post-COVID, is the artists wanted more time to be amongst their peers and their contemporaries. So by empowering our creative community, we created an artist potluck under another one of our initiatives we haven't mentioned, but it is worth mentioning, Choose 954, which is a social movement to keep people in the know and get people to care about the arts throughout the year, to cultivate the culture and community. So through Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, through the art fair, and through the yearning for more connection, creativity, collaboration, actually created this wonderful artist potluck series where artists of varying skill levels will get together to talk about their work and talk about collaborations in different mediums and so on and so forth. And we're really, the other one I would just say in closing, we were very glad that we are able to support through this week our local architects with the American Institute of Architects local Fort Lauderdale chapter, where they didn't have a platform really aside from their own membership-based organization and their own events to highlight and showcase the phenomenal work that they're doing. And if our local architects, just like our local artists and creatives, don't have the opportunities to be highlighted, then it's very tough for them to get new projects, for them to grow their practice, their career, their profession, or whatever the case may be. So by helping leverage the platform for the American Institute of Architects to create their own architecture week, which we don't own, we don't produce, but we just gave them the opportunity to be a part of. It's created more touching points within the architecture and design community, and now there's architecture tours that go on throughout the year using the same map that takes place during Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week. And this is just another benefit and byproduct of when you bring creative people together, creative things can happen. And we're very glad that the Art Week has been able to assist in more creativity and more collaborations happening.
Yeah, and you know, and to add to that, you know, the art discourse series that were produced during the Art Week and during Art Fort Lauderdale, where we kind of, you know, we were flying in different curators and different people in the arts from all over the world. That was how the connection with the AIA started, because we actually invited an architect to come talk about how art really coexists, architecture really coexists with art. And so they were one of our featured speakers during the Art Discourse series. And that was the first year. And the following year for Art Fort Lauderdale, when we were creating the Art Week, we then kind of brought those guys in and then said, hey, why don't you guys do an architectural fair during this week? We'll help you support it, which we have via documenting, and we provide video services and recap services for them to be able to do this, in addition to the promotion and all the things that we're doing as well. So we're, as Evan mentioned, really able to bring in a whole nother community, a whole nother industry that's related to art and design into this Art Week to kind of make it bigger and kind of be able to touch different interests all within this one incredible week.
Wonderful. Well, that gave everyone a really good understanding, the foundational level of the structure and getting organized and creating that platform for all the different disciplines under the art and design umbrella, because it is very vast. And the voice is certainly stronger if we're all in unison than everyone trying their different segment verticals trying to glean exposure. So I think that is a void that needed to be filled in the city. So thank you, and I'm sure everyone's very grateful for that. But again, it was a void. So recognizing the opportunity has then created so many more opportunities, including but not limited to zero empty spaces. So I think that let's just say people who are watching this all sounds really cool and amazing, but a bit overwhelming and intimidating if they would like to take something like this into their cities. So I think that it might be helpful if we could just talk about what were the relationships that you built, whether it be from the Art Fair on the Water and then moved into Art and Design Week and then Zero Empty Spaces. What relationships did you find the most valuable that you were able to build and foster along the way that really were game changers for you to get to this point?
I would say one particular relationship that came out of it. So with Art Fort Lauderdale and with Fort Lauderdale Design Week, we actually hosted quite a bit of parties. So that's another part of the whole fair that we add on. So, after you're done with your water taxi cruise from luxury waterfront home, we started hosting a number of different parties and after parties at a lot of the hotels across Fort Lauderdale and other areas in Broward County. And what that did is it really allowed us to introduce the arts as an element of attraction to these hotels, which still continues to this day, where we still collaborate with a number of hotels in our area, whether it's doing live art in their event locations on a weekly basis, or kind of working with them as a partner to kind of infuse some artistic and creative elements into their programming for the week. We've also collaborated with some shopping centers in creating exhibits with some of the artists that we've had in Art Fort Lauderdale, in Zero Empty Spaces, and in a lot of the different art related events that we do. And so now we've been able to generate commissions for some of the artists that we've worked with through these relationships, whether with hotels or with shopping centers, and also been able to kind of work on our art leasing aspect of the things that we do with businesses that we're interested in having art being displayed in their particular business place and paying a percentage of the value of the art to be there. So the artist isn't just putting up the work for exposure, the artist was actually generating revenue from artwork.
Making money?
Yeah,
like, what a gift.
So that I think has been probably one of the most rewarding parts of it, is that we're actually able to give artists opportunities for generating income that they may not have had before with artwork that, you know, would have otherwise been either sitting in a garage or in their storage facility, but really being able to give the artwork the exposure that it deserves and being able to give the artist the opportunity to get paid for that exposure.
Yeah, incredible, right? Because there's a lot of talent out there that never gets rewarded.
Yeah.
And with your permission, gentlemen, I will go ahead and go into the promotion of all of this, because it doesn't matter how cool it is. If no one knows about it, it doesn't really help change the city's image. It doesn't bring opportunities to any of the local creators, the visitors, or any of the city vendors, right? So I will, talk about the national promotion to make sure that people are aware and are interested in experiencing the Fort Lauderdale art scene. So I want to first, I think just to set this up, my client and BIM Partners client at large is the Commission and Visitors Bureau on behalf of the county. So there's some fun facts about that. We are very aware, even though there's been a lot of research investment to validate our presumptions, that the image of Greater Fort Lauderdale from a visitor standpoint is a little sleepy and older and bland than some of other South Florida locations. So when the Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week launch opportunity came up, we knew that this was a really great opportunity to show some of the enlivened and energetic and really the undiscovered components and landscape of our I guess the coolness that no one knew about that could be discovered here and now, because we are so much more than a beach, and we are so much more than a retiree mecca. So anyways, that's why we really got on board with teaming up to help promote the event on a national level. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, so sit tight.
And I must say, the Fin Partners Group were incredible partners for us. I mean, and I think that's really key, being able to find those incredible partners that really believe in the bigger picture of kind of what you want to achieve, and, you know, being able to kind of be those people that are just as excited with being able to get a writer to come down and do a tour of the week and do a tour of the many areas that have incredible artistic things going on here. And so I think that's also another really key component, is to really find strategic partners that believe in the bigger vision of what you want to do within your art week, and be able to tell as many people as they can with the various strategies that they're able to come up with.
So I hope everyone can see my cheap laugh here on the screen. This is really just to let you know, this is a perception, but this was a reality. A lot of people didn't know really how diverse and welcoming and unstuffy that Fort Lauderdale and young, but really the experience of the city has really transformed over the last decades. So Haha. And just, our goals as we pursued this launch campaign was to elevate the destination's arts and culture profile to the next-gen traveler. Because the Commission of World Visitors Bureau, its primary focus is always to attract overnight visitors. So we needed to create a draw to bring people in from further than West Palm Beach and further than Miami. We needed to create an interest and intrigue for people to come much further than that so they would have an overnight visit. No big deal, right? And so here was really and a lot of this is just really reiterating where our points of distinction, differentiation, and our, when we're looking at our other South Florida destinations, what we can really offer here that is only in Lauderdale, right? So it is the local vibe, right? It is Andrew and Evan are prime examples of that, but people are impassioned about what they're creating and the community and the coastal culture that is still under the radar, but attracting artists to relocate here. It is a really powerful thing to see really come and evolve and come into age since I've lived here. So funny enough about the research, and I don't want to go on about the research too much, but one thing that is so interesting about the actual experience of Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week is that you get to get on a boat. You can't do that anywhere else in any other art fair in South Florida. And we did, commissioned research showing that a lot of people want to come to a coastal destination and just get on a boat. That's all they want. If they got on a boat, it was an escape, a true getaway for them. And that's already baked in to this experience. So when we were looking at the opportunity to get people to visit the destination, we knew that this experience was going to be able to dispel all of these misnomers, the sleepy stigma that Fort Lauderdale just hasn't been able to shake off despite its really rich and gritty culture that it's created. So albeit we were redefined as a destination, it was still a secret in so many ways. So this was a channel and a platform to parlay just for people to see a revived Fort Lauderdale. And guys, you want to please pipe in here if there's anything that I'm missing out or anything that you want to comment.
Beth's very modest as well. And Beth, I don't know if she really highlighted the fact that through our partnership with Fin Partners on behalf of their client, who she outlined, Beth was able to help us as a joint venture partnership obtain and win a PRSA, which is the membership-based organization for public relations professionals. She helped us win a Sunshine District Awards out of 800 submittals for best media tactics and a few other, and I know you guys won a few other awards as well, but what she's showing on the screen are the actual tactics, some of the actual tactics that were used that in Beth's submittal to the public relations industry, they deemed these tactics out of 800 submittals of very large agencies and very large projects, that these tactics were award-winning on behalf of showing people everything that we're telling you in this talk without you having to take a trip to Fort Lauderdale. So we really just
we want you to come on down to Fort Lauderdale, right?
And I'd also say too that we hire quite a bit of photographers and videographers for the fair, so we have multiple recaps, whether both moving video or still photo, that we're able to utilize in our promotion year after year, in addition to using it for promotions to drive traffic to the week and to the fair. So it's also a really important thing to really get a team of video and photo people to really capture the experience in a really, really great and dynamic way. So that's also another thing that I wanted to mention too, because it makes the life of the PR team a little bit easier as well if there's a lot of this really incredible content for them, not just to promote, but them to showcase and encourage people to be interested.
Absolutely. I think that the secret sauce of this campaign, and we can go through it, was being able to incorporate a lot of the rich and visual imagery, whether here's some social media pieces on the screen, but you'll see that it is the photography, it's the local talent, it's these local ambassadors that really are reflective of the destination itself and the actual art and design experience. Because that's something, you know, it makes it authentic and real, and it gives something people want to discover. And it's provocative. It captures attention. And the content itself, it lends itself so welcoming to, you know, all these social media channels and media, all media channels, better put, because it is so, I mean, it's a beautiful place and we're showing beautiful artwork. Of course, being able to show that off is, that is key to getting people to attracting people to visit and to want to get out and want to see more. So, being able to just give them and tease them along the way, it was mission critical. Part of the success of not only just the PR campaign, but really building the art profile on behalf of all the artists in the destination and the visiting and exhibiting artists and so on and so forth. So we can keep moving here. On the media, traditional media outreach, we did, and this was all on a very modest budget, mind you. I mean, the Commission and Visitors Bureau is publicly funded, so we do have to be conservative, and everything that we spend money on is very public. So we had to be optimize and get a strong return on everything that we did. So we didn't invite just anyone who wanted to come and visit and experience Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week. We were very selective, and it was a huge success, right? I mean, having this Forbes article, for example, you'll see here, they talked about the AI artwork and the collaborative, I believe they were from France, that were guest exhibitors, really progressive, and it really was able to give a refresh and let people see Fort Lauderdale for the first time in so many ways. And this headline from Matador Network, which I love, is Fort Lauderdale is South Florida's most underrated art scene. So it wasn't that we just got a ton of coverage. You can look at these numbers here. Yeah, they're very healthy, but I'm part of a huge team, and we have 800 staffers as part of our agency. This isn't the highest earned coverage of any campaign. I mean, I have a very good barometer of that, but it was the right coverage at the right time. And, being able to push through these messages that really, kind of snuff out a lot of the former image of Fort Lauderdale. That was really, really strong to create a really drive and just give consideration to visitors, because we knew if we got visitors to come here for the Art and Design Week, we would win them over. They would come back and they would stay longer and tell their friends. So we wanted them to have this experience that helped chip away and give this more accurate depiction of the destination through Art and Design Week. And it worked, and there are a lot of people that contributed to this. We did a good job of the very select group of media that we had visit. Those journalists, we had meetings with the artists. We had meetings with Andrew and Evan. They were able to meet a lot of the local artists that are really part of our grassroots landscape that has transformed the creative community here. So
you guys were also able to introduce them to some of our local restaurants as well, too.
Yes,
so,
yeah,
the experience.
chefs.
Yeah, so the experience was a great attraction to get people here, but we were really able to showcase all of the things as a visitor that you're able to experience here in our local area. So this was just kind of one of those driving forces to be able to then spread out and add more things.
And as Beth is going to show you very shortly, Beth was able to prove a very clear path to a return on investment of the modest public dollars spent to promote the week. And Beth's going to show you very shortly how we were able to generate a return on that investment of the public county dollars.
You bet. And just before we get there, a quick takeaway here of integrating a lot of these very vivid, vibrant, and captivating visual assets that we were able to, obtain from Andrew and Evan and their video partners. Just to give you a comparative analysis here, this is what a nuts and bolts garden variety press release would look like that is sent out to journalists and broadcasters. Well, this is the one that we sent out. So you can definitely see the difference and why they might be very interested in reading this compared to one that is more basic. So, because the subject matter is so visual and enticing, I would recommend to everyone use those to your advantage at every turn. You don't have to put out a press release that looks like everyone else's. You should put one out and send it to media that looks like what the event is, to really hit home and to make it stick. Most journalists they say up to 300 press releases a day. Well, this one's very easy to ignore. This one is not. That's the point here. So I will go back to the deck.
Well said.
Yeah. And, I also want to say too, even in hiring of the videographers and photographers, we didn't hire like one big photography team or company or one big video company. We actually hired a lot of individual photographers and videographers that are independent, some that are now starting in the industry, some a little bit more experienced. But what that's done is obviously been able to employ locals, individuals, give them also a platform where they're actually able to develop content for their portfolio, but then they also become advocates of yours. And we've continuously tried to support the many creatives in the community that kind of support the things that we're doing and also have interest in kind of growing their talents in that creative field and using this platform and others to be able to exhibit that talent.
And as Evan had kind of queued me up for this, all the impressions, all the articles, all the social media clicks, video likes, comments, at the end of the day, we can look at these numbers and they may make us feel really good, but they don't really do any good unless they actually help serve the mission here. That more people, did attend, and we know how many tickets that we sold. So, and by we, I mean Andrew and Evan. So we know that over the course of 2018 to 2020, attendance increased by 19%, which is pretty amazing. And as far as the CVB would be interested in, that's the Commission on Visitors Bureau, we did prove to draw more people into the destination. So what we do know is that the hotel tax that's collected in the county over the course of the 2 years during the same month as Art Fort Lauderdale Design Week increased by 20%. And that's millions of dollars, right? That goes back into the economy, back into the local community, and all those people are going out to eat and they're seeing attractions. So, this, what started as a little art fair on the water has now, in a very short window of time, made a huge economic impact. And it was here the whole time, but it wasn't until it actually got organized and off the ground by Andrew and Evan would anyone even know to even come here and visit just to experience our arts and culture scene. So these are powerful numbers, and I will say on behalf of Film Partners, we were just proud and the CVB, we were just very proud to be a part of it. Even though it was a small layer in the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it, it was really exciting and it was important to us. We're all local, we live here. So it was a really proud, way that we could contribute.
It was, and if I could just add, you were showing the increase in the hotel revenue. Some folks that are probably familiar with Miami's Art Week, which is not actually an official Art Week, it's a term they use. Miami's Art Week, which is the same week of a small event you might have heard of called Art Basel, has generated previously generated $550 million of economic impact for the local Miami economy for the week. It's reported that it could be potentially upwards of $1 billion of economic activity that directly derives from the tourists that potentially flock in the millions to Miami during the first week of December, whereas Beth mentioned they spend on hotels, they spend on restaurants, they spend on Ubers, they spend on shopping. For a comparison, our only other significant economic driving event that is documented and vetted in the city of Fort Lauderdale and Broward County is the Fort Lauderdale's International Boat Show that generates upwards of an $837 million economic impact. But that really doesn't, have any other spillover effects, whereas these art weeks, especially the way that we've created it very organically and highlighting the local artists, there is an impact throughout the rest of the year in the community. And then you do get to see the artwork that these artists are creating throughout the year. You get to discover a lot of the same venues that are open throughout the year. They're just highlighted during the art week. But we're not just doing this for the betterment of the tourists. There's actually a long-lasting impact that's being felt throughout our community throughout the year as a result of the art fair and the art week. And that we're very proud and excited to continue expanding and continue extending, which will create even more economic impact and increase the hotel rates and all those things.
And and zero empty spaces is a great kind of component to that. So a lot of the artists that have been in the fair are in our studios. There's actually quite a bit of artists that haven't been in the fair that are also in our studios as well. So their art's getting nurtured throughout the year. They're getting activity and exposure on an ongoing basis. So the fair and the week isn't just one event that kind of happens and we're just kind of waiting for next year. We're really ideating and creating and collaborating and empowering artists throughout the entire year so that the community continues to grow and build and everybody is really included as much as possible as we start to build this event. And, NSU Museum, which has incredible exhibits, we include, all the things that they're doing. They've also been able to start adding specific components and programming during the week and in such a great and international level that, now we're starting to have this bigger collaboration, this bigger cross collaboration between local artists, international artists, our local art museum, our local communities. And I think, with the idea of this art fair on the water, the idea that we're trying to use what's unique about our city as the focal point for building the fair and extending the week. And so I think that's a really great recommendation for any city or community that does want to host an art week, is to try and find those really unique things that make your community what it is and make that the focal point of what you build your art fair, your signature art fair, and then also your art week around. I think those are really, really key things to be able to kind of build something that's unique, that is long lasting for the betterment of the culture in the community.
And change the way that we view cities through art.
There you go.
I wanted to, we do have a couple questions that have came in, so I do want to get to those, but I know that there has been some, international interest. I know that there has been some, art and public spaces grants that you guys have came across. So I do want to get to that, but I think, a good, segue to that is what's on the horizon. So all of this is culminating to an elevated profile of the city within the art and design world on a much higher level than it ever was before. But what do you guys have in store? What are you looking forward to, and what's next?
We're certainly hoping to extend Zero Empty Spaces into other cities, other communities. As I mentioned before, we've gotten a lot of outreach from various places. So that's something we're actively interested in. Obviously, COVID's kind of put a little slowdown on out-of-state expansion, but we are currently in discussions with many, many entities around the country about this particular initiative, which I actually failed to mention before too. A lot of the spaces and properties that we've gotten have actually come from local mayors and city commissioners that have actually made recommendations for these spaces. These entities from a local government standpoint are seeing Zero Empty Spaces as a transformative kind of solution for vacancies in their area. So we're hoping to be able to bring that into other cities so that we can really have an ongoing nurturing of the arts in these really incredible locations that property owners have throughout the country. And we're also looking to extend the elements of Art Fort Lauderdale, the art fair on the water, and adding and building on the component of Art Consulate, which is the part where we really feature the artwork of particular countries. One year we've had Canada, last year we had the Bahamas, and so basically the entire home is full of some of the most popular artists from the Bahamas. And so the idea with that is to be able to have an international space within the fair where we can really feature a country that most of the time actually are major visitors of Fort Lauderdale and our community, and be able to create a place for them to be highlighted as well during the week. So I think that's a component that we're looking to build on. We're also looking to build and expand on the partnerships with the various liquor partners and other sponsors that we've had over the years. We're also looking to extend on the Art Discourse series and really being able to engage with more and more incredible curators and art critics and arts advocates. I think one incredible one that we're super proud of, or we're actually super proud of quite a bit of them, but a couple of years ago we featured a curator from the Brooklyn Museum, and we had kind of found that she was one of the really top up-and-coming curators in the country, and so we brought her down here to talk about some of the work that she was doing at the Brooklyn Museum. And subsequent to that, she became the first Black curator of the Guggenheim. And so we were able to actually bring someone that was really well respected in the industry down to our community even before she was able to get this really prestigious position at the Guggenheim. So being able to—
So I guess she has you to thank for that.
Well, I don't know if it's but no, I mean, I think it's a really great opportunity to be able to give our local community a front row seat with these, incredible experts and world-renowned experts in the art world, which then helps to kind of like work on their thoughts and their exposure to the arts via these incredible creators and curators. So I think those are some of the really key components of that we're looking to build and looking to grow. We're looking to bring in more and more arts entities into the week. We're looking to get that the architecture fair into a much bigger fair, and it continues to grow year over year. And hopefully welcome other art fairs onto the week as well. I mean, yes, we started off with Art Fort Lauderdale, but we'd really love for anyone that's interested in actually putting in their own type of art fair during that week that we could all kind of promote together is another thing that we're very eager to do. And another thing that I certainly recommend to other cities and communities that want to create art weeks, that they try to encourage as many people to be able to add on their particular point of view or their particular sort of exhibit into the week to kind of make it much bigger and much more compelling. I don't know if you had anything else, Evan.
Organic growth. This has been very organic, very genuine. As I mentioned, we do this very altruistically. Andrew and I have been self-funding the fair, and Andrew emptied out his piggy bank and his 401k to get the art fair started the first year. So by doing it very organically and by doing it very genuinely and by doing it grassroots at the beginning was what's able to help us grow. We're very proud to continue organically and growing, and still from a grassroots level by, as Andrew mentioned, incorporating anybody that wants to participate, by keeping the art fair inclusive, by keeping the speaker series inclusive. While you might have a Time Magazine top 50 person of the year speaking, there's still an opportunity to hear the local artist, curator, whoever, speaking during the same speaker series as well. And now the fact that, if they know it or not, some of our top local curators and artists that spoke during the Art Discourse series are now literally in the same conversation as the first female African-American curator at the Guggenheim. That's a really unique opportunity that we're glad to continue growing, and it will continue to grow. And thankfully, as the city continues to grow and redevelop, we're literally helping with these media tactics, with the videos, with the platforms that we create, with the after parties, with the opportunities for discovery. It really is changing the way that people viewed Fort Lauderdale. And the only other thing I would say about that point is 20 years ago, they did not view Miami the same way they view it now. And it's widely considered that the arts is what contributed to the redevelopment of Miami. And now Miami is clearly undoubtedly viewed as the cultural mecca of the United States, potentially of the world, thanks in large part to Art Basel, Miami Art Week, and the arts.
Very good. Well, so unless there's anything else to add, are you guys ready to take a couple questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first one, I'm reading from my big screen here. On the programming components, what content and what sessions were the most popular? What worked, what didn't, and what did you think on the promotion part delivered the strongest ROI?
I'd say the most popular talk was probably Laurie Prodikos. She's a local artist, muralist, and nonprofit leader behind Girl Noticed, and does a lot of really great work. She probably had the most interesting cross-section of attendees between folks from the business community that came out to support, because we actually did her talk in conjunction with Business for the Arts in Broward and Robin Vegas. And there was also an interesting cross-section of the LGBTQ community as well. And those are the types of things that you find at an Art Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week event. The events are attended by a very interesting mix of creatives, business folks, marketers, advertisers. You never know who's going to be there. but Laurie Prodikos was probably the most attended talk as part of the speaker series. And the W events, our Saturday night after party at the W's, those are always our best attended after parties that generally get around 800 to probably 1,200 people.
800 to 1,200 people. Well, everyone loves a party.
So does Alexis.
So this is an essay question, but someone asked, what advice would you give yourself 2 years ago?
I don't know, that's an interesting one. I mean, I think, we would have probably looked at like trying to do something like Zero Empty Spaces like probably about 2 years ago. I mean, I think it would have, increased the attention about the week and all the different things with the art community here. So I definitely think that's part of it. And also too, like, I think we're discovering more and more now that like some of the ideas that we have, although sometimes, pretty much out of the box, are really, really great to kind of move forward with, even though you might think it might be a little unrealistic, but, I think, being able to attempt to try and do some of them and trying to execute some of these ideas would be something I probably would have done about 2 years ago, is try to execute these things a whole lot quicker.
I would just say it took us some time to work through some of the kinks with like the route of the boats. And last year on our 4th year for the art fair, we finally got the boat rotation and timing part down to make for the most enjoyable experience that we've had in the 4 years that we've done the art fair, where we had 100% positive feedback from the boat staying at the house while the group would go in for their hour that they could tour the exhibit. If we would have known that 2 years ago, that would have been a good one, but it takes time to learn those things.
Someone asked how they could get one of those shirts.
Email us. Well, we have them at the fair. We've debated selling them. They've been for volunteers and the home team, but if you email us, we could make that available.
That's nice. Well, so those are all the questions that we have right now, but perfect bridge there. What are your email addresses? That would be nice to share with everyone.
info@artfortlauderdale.com, artftlauderdale.com, and then info@zeroemptyspaces.com. We'll go to both of us, and we're glad to, get you a shirt. And we are going to put the Zero Empty Spaces shirts on the website for sale. And we're also going to do some very interesting limited edition artistic t-shirts that the artists are going to create and inspire. And we're going to use that as a way to raise funds for the artists, another extension of the space. So stay tuned to Zero Empty Spaces on social media. I do just want to give a big shout out and big thanks. I hope he's still here. I think he's still here, to Tony Fusco. Tony, you still here? He's the founder of co-founder of Boston Design Week. His team was the one that reached out to us a while back to be invited in the first iteration in April. And since then, it's become a beautiful friendship and relationship. He invited us to the World Design Week forums, which we're glad to become, members of. And now that there's conversation and dialogue with our contemporaries in other parts of the world that are also producing these design weeks, it's been really great to be part of that conversation. We're very big on collaboration, idea sharing, and now I literally have travel planned. Once we can travel again, I'm going to go check out my contemporaries and my peers' design weeks around the world. So this event is taking place while we're talking about Fort Lauderdale's Art and Design Week. It's taking place during Boston Design Week's fall season, their, I believe, 7th edition. And we really want to thank Tony Fusco and Four, and the whole Boston Design Week team, World Design Week Forum team, for including us and helping us get the word out, leveraging the platform. And we're glad to reciprocate and hopefully have Tony speak during Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week of how he's done amazing things in Boston with his art week.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gave Tony speaking rights in case he wanted to comment.
Thanks, Tony.
Tony, anything you want to add about Art Weeks while we have you?
Oh, I'm thrilled to see more of the workings of it, more of the imagery of it, more of the way it's been organized. And I think you guys are onto something. It's just going to continue to grow. You know, with all the energy and passion you put into it, you can't help have it grow even more. And thrilled to connect you with all the other art design weeks that are happening around the world. You get so many ideas when you exchange that information. So happy to welcome you into that circle of peoples.
Awesome.
Really, that's a really nice way to close. So thank you very much, Tony. That was a real-time TV there. He just came in and swooped in for a cameo.
He's a pro.
So, okay, well, thank you for having us. This was a real treat. And we will make this available on demand soon enough. And everyone enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of the sessions for the virtual Boston Design Week.
And Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, January 16th through the 24th. We'll be publishing more info on the event soon. Big thanks to all of our longtime supporters and friends of the program, people that tune in to watch events like this, to tell their friends, We genuinely appreciate any questions. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're open books, you know, and we're glad to continue advocating for the arts, making more empty spaces available, and collaborating with great people like Beth and Tony Fusco to keep moving these needles and these initiatives forward, especially as they can aid in the recovery. We're really glad to do our part to support. So we appreciate you guys tuning in.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth. I appreciate your moderation. Very, very much appreciated. So thank you so much. And we'll talk really soon.
All right. Signing off, guys. Thank you.
Great job, Beth. Thank you.